So she's not the only one.
No, this goes on all the time.
Cool. Okay.
You can go ahead and fix it.
I told her I probably can't help you.
Hey, fellas.
Gentlemen,
Hit the gas.
Hit the gal.
Y'all break it.
I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Ascension Parish Council Finance Committee meeting for March the 11th. At this time, I would like to ask Ms. De Lejeune if she would lead us in prayer, and following that will be the Pledge of Allegiance.
Place ourselves in God's presence. Good and gracious God, we give thanks to you for this evening as we all come together. We ask that we're most appreciative for all the many blessings that you bestow upon each of us. We realize that we are your servants and we're here to do your will. We ask special guidance and blessing for all the leaders of our community as they make decisions that are in the best interest of our community. We also want to remember all the men and women who serve in our military each and every day. We ask for their safety and let them know how much we appreciate what they do for us in order to protect this great country in which it is privileged for us to live. It is through all these things that we ask in your name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, under Chair's additions, I would like to mention that I am going to pass on item number 8. Excuse me, it is item number, gosh, where did it go? 6 on the agenda. And at this time, I'd also like to mention that if there is anyone, a member of the public, who would like to speak on any item on the agenda, please come forward now and sign up, and you will have 3 minutes to speak at the appropriate time.
I'm going to speak.
Just give it.
Where you want to?
Put your name in this. I was thinking of an update.
Okay, that's what you want to speak on? Okay.
I'm the chairman of the board of this cancer center.
Okay. And on the agenda, which item is that?
I think it's number 7, I believe. That's it.
Right, item 7.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You did. All right, we'll proceed now with item number 5, the monthly contract reports. Ms. Kimlin Baylor Gomez.
Included in your package, you have the contracts report for the month of February. You can take a moment and look over it, see if you have any questions.
Information only.
Do we have any questions or observations, gentlemen? Hearing none, we'll move along. The item number 6 has been pulled, so we'll move along to item number 7. Mr. Lewis Lambert and Mr. Bill Dawson, as well as Dr. Jason Adams, I believe, are listed on this item.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity to speak with you this evening. I'm here along with a number of our board members. I'd like for them to stand, if you would. And why don't y'all introduce yourselves real fast? And we have Dr. Jason Adams, who works with us. Thank you. We're here this evening to request a $50,000 one-time amount to assist us in running the Cancer Center in Sorrento. I want to start off by thanking Tommy Martinez. Back in 2000, when I introduced the legislation to create it, he came to me and he had space there, offered that space to us at little to no rent. And so you all and those that came before you have actually been very supportive of this facility, and we screen about 1,500 a year now. We were set up initially. I was able to get an appropriation of $500,000, and we left it in a rainy day fund for a long time until let's say 2 years ago, and we started to lose our funding. Our budget was about $275,000 a year, and we're all volunteers. I mean, we're just, we don't get paid to do this. We don't want to get paid. We don't expect to. We have, a number of us have been touched by cancer, or if we haven't, someone in our families have. So it's an issue that dear to the heart of a lot of people. And at the time when we began this, y'all can all remember, we were referred to as Cancer Alley. And that was something that I didn't particularly like, that connotation, and I don't think a lot of people did. So very frankly, when we started this, industry along the river was very supportive, and they helped us and with funding. And but what's happened over the years, and we used to have fundraisers. We have a golf tournament annually, and we had this rainy day money. But and then we became affiliated with the LSU Health Science Center, and came under their umbrella, and the money that was appropriated to us in the legislature went to LSU, and over a period of years it went away. And of course LSU's budget has been chopped, as you all know. Your budget has, I know everybody's has. It's not, to be here this evening, we're happy to see you, and we're glad to be here to represent the cause we represent, but we regret that we have to come and ask for assistance financially, because we've been able to do it ourselves in the past. Of course, you've helped us with the facility, the building, between the school board and the parish. You all have contributed a lot, and we're very grateful for that. Our budget was $275,000 a year. In the last 2 years, we've cut it by 100. We've cut it from almost 300 to 150,000. So we don't have, we've cut our days, now we're 3 days a week, but we're still doing what I told you. We're still seeing a lot of people. People we represent are people who are uninsured or underinsured, who do not have any insurance. And, we have high cancer rates, as you all know, but I think if you look at it carefully, LSU studies show that we have high mortality rates, and to a great extent, it's an educational issue, and we do a lot of that in the schools. We've done that, and we'll continue to do that. But anyway, that's why we're here. I don't think I'm going to go any further, because I know y'all have been here a long time, and you have more to go tonight. But if you have any questions, we would try to answer them right now.
Mr. Lambert, how many patients are you all seeing now?
Ma'am?
As you have scaled back, are you still maintaining your same patient load?
We are.
Outstanding.
Yes, we are.
You're to be congratulated for that.
Right.
Do any of my councilmen have comment or question?
You're going to have to speak up to me.
All right. Well, let me begin first by acknowledging the parish president's request to speak, please, on this issue.
All right.
Well, I just want to commend them on the job that they've done over the years. I know that they've detected cancer in many of Ascension Parish residents, and actually residents from other parishes, because it was actually the River Parish cancer screening before this. But we met with some of the parish presidents from other parishes, and I think now it's basically that we're seeing Ascension Parish residents,
That's right.
and
And if others come, I think we worked it out with the parish presidents where they tell, we keep a list of them and they'll compensate us
So-
for them. You don't want to turn anybody away. I mean, people that are going to come to us are people who cannot afford health insurance, and I don't have to tell y'all, there are a lot of people in all walks of life that cannot afford health insurance today.
Absolutely. All right, we'll begin. Gentlemen, Councilman Kluot.
Thank you, Lewis, for coming, and thank all you guys on the board for your work. I've
thank
had
you.
several close friends of mine that were diagnosed at that center.
Thank you.
I just want to let everybody, I don't remember exactly what all you said, but that we are at the point of a little bit over 85% of the people there are Ascension Parish residents.
That's correct.
And you have some other funding sources that was diversified that have been pulled back, not just LSU, the
Right.
Susan B. Coleman Foundation. They diluted theirs
That's
into
correct.
some other parishes and things like that, I think.
Well, I think right now, I believe I'm correct when I say out of the 150,000 we have now, 100 of it comes out of our rainy day fund, and we have enough to last us another 2 years. And the Susan B. Coleman grant, which is 50,000, we're not guaranteed that every year. We apply for it
It's a
and we
yearly
try to get it.
application.
But with this funding, if we could keep it at this level, and we're only asking for this 1 year, we'll search and look all over to try to find some additional money. But at this level, we can, I think, keep going until about 2017.
Thank you. I'd certainly offer up a motion that we extend this.
Can you-
Need a motion going to the board.
Let's proceed then with a motion and a second, and then we can have some further discussion. I have a motion by Councilman Kluot, a second by Councilman Shakespeare to move this forward to the council to fund $50,000, I presume, for this. Okay, any further discussion? Kent, go
Yes.
ahead.
Thank you, and again, thanks to all of you who have done such a wonderful job. This is something that's extremely valuable, especially when you or your family goes through anything like that. It really hits home. This is something that we certainly very, very worthy to get behind, very, very worthy to move, and very proud to see that something like this in Ascension Parish. It's also another thing, though, that I don't want to see bangled back and forth on a yearly basis. I would like to try to ask that you, maybe get with us and let's see what we can do to try to ensure that you get funding for
We
this very
appreciate
worthy
that,
cause more than just 1 year.
We will do that.
Let's
We
try to do
appreciate
something that, and I'm not advocating anything. Let's just look into it, and we have something that's very, very, very worthy as a health issue in this parish, and I think it warrants us really taking, this has hit us right now. I would like to see us cover this for this year, and then to move forward in the future, we need to start meeting right now and try to see where there is a funding mechanism for the future so we can be ensured that the people in our parish and the neighboring parishes, get these
Y'all may
services.
be able to help us identify some grants.
And I'd like to offer my help in any way, shape, or form that we can do this and
Appreciate that very much.
and move forward with more continued funding.
Thank you, Kent.
And
Councilman
and we also need to solicit. I mean, you're asking the parish here. We need to solicit the municipalities and et cetera, because it's not just the people in the rural areas of the parish that
That's
are getting
right.
these services. And so I
You're
encourage our friends in the municipalities to also come out and support that to this worthy cause. And so hopefully we can get that.
Councilman Satterley.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Lewis, I'd just like to say that wonderful program, and I commend you in your efforts in the past, and I have appreciation for your gumption to come tonight in these hard times and with your hand out. I lost both of my parents from
You
the
did?
big C, as it's called, early on as cancer, and I have lots of friends and family members, even right now, as we probably all do, afflicted. So I'm going to support this, but I just have a question. I'd like a little bit of education. It might be a follow-up to what Councilman Schexnayder actually just talked about in terms of municipalities. I'm looking on the top, I think it's page 4, and you indicate that you provide three main services: the mammograms, wonderful clinical breast exams, and an education on breast cancer itself. And that approximately in all categories, 75, 75, and 75% are Ascension Parish residents. Can I assume the other 25 are in surrounding parishes, like Iberville, East Baton Rouge, whatever,
Well,
and that you've
we-
approached those guys and asked them to put in quote, their fair share?
Okay, yeah, you're right, and we're doing that. We really, to fit into the Susan Coleman grant requirements, we needed to bring in East Iberville because of the poverty level and so
Right.
forth, and that was the reason we did that. But the people in those areas are the ones that need the help the most, very frankly. But I can say this, and I know y'all are in the community. You know how many people do not have health insurance,
Right.
and that crosses color lines, ethnic lines. I mean, money lines. It's it's just tough. So we are maybe we may call it a port, a safe port that they can come into, and not just do nothing, because there's nowhere they can go. So it's a good. This is something that. This is a preventive approach. It was a model when it was set up. It's not designed to treat, because that's very expensive. We don't have that capability. But the more you prevent,
Sure.
the less you have to treat. So overall, the cost is lowered. That's
Well,
all we do is screen. That's all we do.
Lewis, I think it was Benjamin Franklin who said an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So certainly your program does that. Sort of a follow-up too, because it's not in a record, if the folks could read everything that we have, and it's a wonderful piece of language that you put together here. Approximately 200%, I'm reading, below the poverty level are the major part of the people being affected. They're not just below poverty, they're like 200% below.
Yeah.
So these people are clearly otherwise helpless
Yeah, that's right.
to do anything without this help.
That's right.
Am I reading that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
you are.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Any opposition? Motion passes.
Thank y'all very much, and Mr. President, thank you very much for putting us on the agenda.
Moving along to item number 8, Ascension Economic Development Corporation's quarterly update. Mr. Mike Eads and company.
And coming, I brought reinforcements too, and I'd like to introduce them to you. It's good to have Bill Dawson, who's our chairman. Bill is appointee of Parish president. Erica Crenshaw is one of our new board members. She is an appointee of this council. You may recall. Steve Lejeune is an appointee of the chamber. Don Hanna is one of your appointees. Also, last but not least, this is Lisa Laws. Lisa has been with us for a number of years, and pleased to report to you that with the departure of Deanna LaFont, we've been able to promote Lisa in the project manager job. We're delighted with that. And of course, we have two members of council, Ms. Cluott and Ms. Jake Snyder, who serve on our board also, and two alumni, being you, Ms. Casso, and Mr. Lord. So, thank you all. Appreciate everything you do. Just a quick summary. We continue to, as you see in your package, to have a lot of prospect activity in Ascension Parish to the tune of some 39 projects of different scopes that we're tracking, and quite a whopping amount of potential investment in capital. We have had one announcement so far this year, and that happened last week. And we have a tortilleria in Ascension Parish, or will have, not too distant future, the first one. Gentlemen, former executives with Zapp's potato chips have going to invest in and start making tortillas here in Ascension Parish in a few months. Also, we have one announcement pending, which is a small expansion of one of our existing firms. And on the decision pending side, we've got 7 that are at that stage. And you can see the listing of those. Project Dashboard is one of our major employers out in Geismar. It's looking at about a $375 million project and 100 or so new jobs. Project Daylight is a small company. It's actually located in Prairieville right now, but they've outgrown their quarters. Need to move and find somewhere so they can grow, and we're helping them with that. Frontier is a $1 billion plus project we've been working with for months, and hope to find out that we've made some progress on that in the next couple of weeks. Crosstex, long-time employer in the parish, we've been working with on some transportation infrastructure. Project Hamilton is actually a downstream support company to Rubicon that is, may get some business from them. G500 is another one of our major employers that's thinking about spending some money. And then finally, last but not least, Project Camelot is phase 2 of Methanex. It's been prematurely reported that that decision has been made, and that is not true. We are in competition with another location on that. Hopefully that decision will be made by midsummer. We've got 3 other what we call A projects, meaning they're very serious. One being another company that has been in the community a long time and has outgrown their site and needs larger space, and we're helping them find a new location. And then recently, the last 2 there under the A project, Project Samaritan is a project that's just started about 2 weeks ago. And you can see there it's pretty substantial, $2 billion and 130 or so new jobs. And then Project Uranium is about a $750 million project. So a lot going on. As far as other activities, we continue our aggressive calling program on our existing industries. You can see the ones we've called on so far this year. We've also gotten involved, I think this is very important, with River Parish's Community College and the other parishes in the River Parishes doing a workforce needs assessment. An actual survey has been sent out to 75 or 80 companies trying to discover, what are the true workforce demands in the future. How many, as you all may know, a lot of our companies have a lot of employees who are getting ready to retire, so we're trying to get a handle on how many of those people there are and what skill sets they have, as well as the new jobs that are going to be created, what kind of educational background and skills they're going to need. We're working on a new certified site. Remember, we've talked to you all about that before. We have 2 of those at present, one in Donaldsonville, actually both in Donaldsonville, Donaldsonville Industrial Park and the mega site. And this site is a piece of property in Geismar, next door to Gateway Industrial Park, if you know where that is, just west of Highway 73 on Highway 30 that we're working with BRAC and LED to get that certified. Pleased to report that at last Thursday's meeting of our board, we have the first strategic plan in the history of AEDC. Some of you were involved in that, and we appreciate your input. I'm very happy with it. Some of the things that we're going to be focusing on is continuing the dialogue with people like yourselves, elected and appointed leaders. It's very critical to what we do. We have actually drafted a flow chart of the processes that we go through in working with a prospect. We have that in draft form, and hopefully we'll bring that to you as a finished product at the next briefing. We're going to, again, continue our heavy emphasis on calling on our existing employers, and in addition, we're going to, let's use the parish as an example, go get with your building permit people and your business license people, and make sure that we know about people who are getting ready to spend money in the parish and employ our residents, because there may be state incentives coming their way. We've had several instances where people have done projects in the community that didn't know about that and left a lot of money laying on the table. I mean, the enterprise zone program, for example, the state rebates its 4-cent sales tax on construction materials, and that, in some of these deals that may be small in comparison to some of these large industries, but that's serious. That can be some pretty serious money. And we want to make sure they take advantage of that. So we're going to be meeting with, like I said, the staff of the building permit and the business license office to make sure that people are aware that there may be something out there for them. The other large item that came out of this is we're going to do a comprehensive analysis of available land in the parish for future economic development. We are getting ourselves into a pretty tight situation as far as available sites for new business. And we have vacant land out there. We just need to identify it and study it, make sure, number one, it is available for sale, and then do some due diligence on it to properly package it up to present our prospect. Could be some instances we will have to come to the Planning Commission and ultimately to you on rezoning, but that'll be done on a case-by-case basis. That concludes my report, unless you have questions.
Gentlemen, any questions?
One thing, Mr. Chairman.
Councilman Lambert?
Mike, appreciate all the hard work. Just to bring you up to date, I'd like for you to stay real close with our Utilities Committee. A lot of these businesses that are coming in here, the first thing they're looking for is the infrastructure plus water and wastewater tie-in. And while you're looking at those areas, make sure that they're available there so you make everything attractive.
Right, that will be a critical component of that site analysis.
Yeah.
No question.
Thank you.
Councilman Joseph?
Yeah, Mike. On those two certified sites in Downsville, you know we don't see that much activity over there, or business interest in that area. I mean, what, you know, is there a problem where the location at, or do we have major problems for the track business in those two areas?
On the Downsville Industrial Park, you know, we had a pretty quick sale in there as soon as we got it certified as a Go Bear Oil, and in fact under construction. But we found out subsequent to that the if you're familiar with that area, you got some major pipelines that cross that property, and we did not have the permission, and that's where the service road goes in there. We did not have permission to put a road across those pipelines, and so that has been underway with the Dawsonville Industrial Development Board, who owns that property. Is you know, that's coming to a close. So we know we'll get permission to get back. I mean, basically you had a piece of property you couldn't get a road to, and so that's on the way to getting resolved. And so we'll have that property open. As far as the mega site, you may have read in the paper that the option was not renewed. That really has more to do with the fact that there's been a tremendous amount of pressure along the river for barge leasing. And because of our option agreement with the Tebows, the Crawford and Tebows, they were unable to give the barge fleeting companies more than a one-year lease. And they were demanding a multi-year lease, and so they felt compelled not to renew it. But we've been in conversation and had a couple of meetings with them. Property's still there; they're still interested in selling, and you know, we've shown it to several industries. I think there's two drawbacks to that site right now. Is one is they will not subdivide it. So you know, you got 1,000 acres, and not everybody needs 1,000 acres of land. And number two, getting the rail in there is a challenge, without question. It's not only expensive, but I think the path of least resistance, you have to cross, I believe it's 15 or 16 property owners. Some of those are residential, so it is a challenge. Not going to sugarcoat it, but someday somebody will come along where it meets the requirements, and we'll get it done.
Well, I appreciate you giving me that update and the council on that. That informed the public over there why, you know, we promoted the mega site, and we expect the big things out in it, and you know, so at least they really do have insight of what the delays or hold up on it. Thank you for that info.
Yes, sir.
Councilman Kluot?
Mike, I just want to thank you and your group looking at business retention. Continue that on. I see some of the places that you've called on are locally owned businesses that have grown pretty substantial, and they've worked through 2 generations, and people have worked hard, and they're really strong businesses within the parish. And I'd like, as you've been doing for the past couple of years, continue to look out for the mid-sized businesses and to support organizations to industry and to the residential in both directions.
Just a comment to that, y'all may not know this, but we get a mandate, I guess is the word, from LED every year, certain companies that we have to call on, and that's a condition of receiving that little bit of Tier 1 money that we get through BRAC, and they send us a list, but and we have to call on those, and we do, but the others, we try to focus on the medium to small companies that often don't get any attention, and to make sure the family-owned companies that have been here a long time get the same treatment.
Thank you very much, Mike. We appreciate you coming and bringing the big guns.
Thank you.
When you have Miss D with you, you got the big gun. Moving along to item number 9, Ascension Parish Library, Ms. Angele Desautel. Welcome, Angele.
Hi. Good evening, Madam Chairwoman and members of the committee. I'm here this evening because the library is interested in purchasing a piece of land on Highway 431. This will be the land that the next location will go on. It'll be the Sanama branch. And we've done an analysis, looked at census tracts to see where the growth of the parish is going, and the board determined that we wanted to pursue purchasing the land now while the funds were available and the land was available. So at this time, we'd like to ask that the parish government authorize the purchase of that property.
I have a motion by Mr. Cluott, a second by Councilman Lambert, to approve the purchase of land on Highway 431 for the library. Is there any discussion? Mr. Martinez.
Well, yeah, how many acres are y'all buying?
It's approximately 13 acres.
Okay.
Half of it is wetlands, but the other half is clear and will be easily approachable to facilitate a new facility.
So the footprint of the building is going to be on how many acres?
The footprint of the building will be on 6 acres.
Okay.
And we're looking at, this time, no less than 20,000 square feet. It'll be approximately the size of Dutchtown.
What's the total cost?
Of the property is $350,000, which is less than the appraised value.
Any other questions or discussion? Having a motion by Mr. Cluott, a motion and a second by Councilman Lambert to approve. Do I hear any objections? Hearing none, motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Item number 10, the contract between the State of Louisiana, DHH, the Office of Public Health and Parish for Nutrition Services. Kenny Matassa from the Health Unit.
As you recall, we took over the city of Downsville was where the state had the health unit, and we took it over this year, and all that is adding to our contract to pay us for the services that we contract with them. So it's just additional monies we get under contract.
So, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Have a motion by Councilman Lambert, a second by Councilman Shakespeare. At this time, we'll open for discussion. Gentlemen, do we have any questions? Councilman Shakespeare.
Just curious, I mean, is this contract, and forgive me for not doing my homework on this, what's the pluses and minuses on this?
Well, the state never gives you a contract when you come out ahead.
Okay.
But they pay us for services. The WIC contract is $10 per person that we see. Mm-hmm. And it's added to that contract, which goes to 2014, which comes to $1,400,000. But that's the east side and the west side combined. And we still dickering with DHH to get the ability to do Medicaid billing. In fact, at the convention, I talked to the secretary about it. We still don't have a number to do billing. And so that would help us out a lot in recouping some of our money. But this, this is just monies added to the contract for Donaldsonville.
And that was our concern is with Medicaid and everything. And so this is much, I mean, to make it simple, this is sort of like the grass cutting where we provide a service and the state reimburses us to a certain amount.
Well, the president could tell you.
But it's on the health services.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And so the state is cutting back some of those funds also?
We're cutting back a lot, but
Yeah.
we have the millage, which picks up the slack in it.
Okay.
But that's where we're at.
Okay. All right.
Councilman Joseph.
Yeah, Kenny, and just we're talking about the money, it's really to 2016, correct?
Well, I'm sorry, yes.
Okay.
I was looking at the,
So, and when you say, for the services and that, for both sides, I understand it, but most of which what is our average visiting? You know the numbers on that for
We
these
approxi-
services right here?
on the West Bank, we're seeing about 600 patients, clients a month, right at 600.
Okay.
On the east side, we're seeing 3,000 and more above.
So your monthly figure, if you just figure these out, we'll be in a negative on it, based
That's
on.
correct.
Okay. But there's no room to negotiate with the state.
The president can tell you.
Basically, that's what you have village for, it's a supplemental funding. Pretty decent that we can provide, and we can provide over the years on both sides.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. All right. Any objections? Hearing none, the motion passes.
Thank you.
Item number 11, the renewal of maintenance contract agreement between Inman Enterprises, or Jana King, and the parish. My understanding is that this is strictly a renewal of their maintenance agreement for events that are held at Lamar Dixon.
So moved, Madam Chairman.
I have a motion
Second.
and a second. Motion by Councilman Lambert, second by Councilman Shakespeare. Do we have any discussion or questions? Any objections? That motion passes. Change order, item number 11, change order for Sorrento Sewer Plant improvements. Cost reduction in the amount of $83,000. Ms. Martha Collins.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, members of the council. I'm here to do a reduction on some funds that we did. On the CDBG project that we did for the sewer improvements in Sorrento, what happened was the estimated amount of the dry tonnage came out less, so therefore the contract is affected in that. So there will be a reduction of the contractor's contract amount for $83,431.22. So I'm asking approval for you to authorize the parish president to sign the change order and move this to the full council for ratification. Please, ma'am.
I have motions all around. So
Very
we'll
good.
pick one. Motion by Councilman Melanson, second by Councilman Kluwat. Do we have any questions?
That's good. It doesn't matter. That's good.
Any objections? Hearing none, that motion gladly passes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Martha. Moving now to item 13, the sales and use tax report. Ms. Gwen LeBlanc.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. You have before you your regular sales and use tax report. This is for the collection month of January, which represents December sales. This is our first month in the year that will be counted towards the year 2013. You can see that the January collections they're really abnormally high. That's due to two situations in the chemical corridor. One was a result of an audit, and another was a result of an audit of a customer of a chemical plant that showed that the remittance for some repairs that were done were sent to the wrong parish, and then that was corrected and sent to Ascension Parish, and that was $1.5 million. So otherwise, they basically would be about 9% above collections from January 2012, and of course repeated in year-to-date. So that reflects on the budget side also. And on the second page, you can see that remittance expressed in the bar charts from the petrochemical industry. Also in the pie charts, which ups the collections for the petrochemical industry and reduces the other three sectors. And then the history chart is the last page. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Thank you, Ms. Gwynn. Any questions, gentlemen? Hearing none, we'll move along to the revenue and expenditure report. Ms. Amanda Barat.
Good evening. Before you are the financial reports for the month of January 2013. On page 1, total revenues are at 2.55% at 8.33% of the year. The items highlighted in green reflect the funds that are under the budget by 5% or more. And on page 4 of the report, there's an explanation of those funds. On page 2, your total expenditures are at 16.06% at 8.33% of the year. The items highlighted in green reflect the funds that are over the budget by 5% or more. And on page 5 of the report is an explanation for those funds. On page 3 are charts that compare the year-to-date revenue and expenditures for operating, which is the yellow bar, and capital, which is the blue bar, to your budget, which is the green bar. The last page of the report is a listing of all checks issued in January 2013 over $100,000, and the total of these checks are $8,885,249.16. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Gentlemen, do we have any questions? Hearing nor seeing any, we'll move along. Item number 15, budget amendment, approval to introduce an ordinance to amend the 2013 budget. Dawn Cavallaro.
Good evening. You have before you Budget Amendment Number 1, the ordinance which reads as follows. An ordinance to amend the ordinance approving, adopting, and appropriating the 2013 operating and capital budgets for the Parish of Ascension, adopted by the Ascension Parish Council on the 15th day of November, 2012. Section 1. The Ascension Parish Council hereby ordains that the ordinance approving, adopting, and appropriating the 2013 operating and capital budgets for the Parish of Ascension is hereby amended, approved, and appropriated as follows. Operating budget, general fund, revenues and other financing sources. Transfer in ACUD number 1, $31,500. Transfer in ACUD number 2, $9,000. Fire District Number 1, expenditures and other financing uses. Transfer out Fire District Number 1 construction, $225,000. ACUD Number 1, revenues and other financing sources. Ad valorem taxes, $184,000. User fees, $605,500. Expenditures and other financing uses. Salary exempt, $6,000. Salary non-exempt, $68,500. FICA tax expense, $5,500. Retirement, $6,500. Health insurance, $6,000. Health savings account expense, $1,000. Utilities, $6,000. Publications, $5,000. Telephone, $2,000. Miscellaneous maintenance, $20,000. Professional services, $18,000. Fire, casualty, and general liability insurance, $7,000. Office supplies, $10,000. Operating supplies, $170,000. Fuel, $5,000. Miscellaneous expense, $5,000. Transfer out general fund, $31,500. Transfer out ACUD number 1 sinking fund, $400,000. ACUD number 1 sinking fund, revenues and other financing sources, bond proceeds, $550,000. Transfer in ACUD number 1, $400,000. Expenditures and other financing uses, principal, $194,500. Interest expense, $262,000. Issuance cost, $12,000. Transfer out ACUD number 1 reserve fund, $388,000. ACUD number 1 reserve fund, revenues and other financing sources, transfer in ACUD number 1 sinking fund, $388,000. ACUD number 2, revenues and other financing sources, user fees, $225,000. Expenditures and other financing uses, miscellaneous maintenance, $80,000. Professional services, $17,000. Fire, casualty, and general liability insurance, $3,000. Office supplies, $1,000. Operating supplies, $112,500. Miscellaneous expense, $2,500. Transfer out general fund, $9,000. Capital budget, Fire District Number 1 construction. Revenues and other financing sources. Transfer in Fire District Number 1, $225,000. Expenditures and other financing uses. Architect and landscape services, $20,000. Contract payments, $200,000. Miscellaneous expense, $5,000.
Motion accept.
Second.
Have a motion to accept this amendment by Councilman Joseph and a second by Councilman Todd Lambert. Any discussion or questions? Any objections? And hearing none, that motion passes. Item number 16, request for proposals. Highway 73 wastewater treatment facility, Ms. Joan Shivers.
On January 17, 2013, the Purchasing Department received one proposal for the Highway 73 wastewater treatment facility. The proposal was received from Environmental Construction. After review, the Engineering Selection Committee recommends accepting the proposal submitted by Environmental Construction and to authorize the parish president to begin contract negotiations for this service.
So moved, Chairman.
Have a motion by Councilman Dempsey Lambert.
Second.
Second by Councilman Randy Cluott. Any questions or discussion? Any objections? Hearing none, that motion passes. Moving on to item number 17, bid items. Ms. Joan Shivers.
On February 28, 2013, the Purchasing Department received two bids for blanker sign flashing LED stop signs. The bids were received from TAPCO and Traffic Parts Incorporated. After review, the Purchasing Department and Department of Public Works recommend accepting the lowest responsive bid from TAPCO and to authorize the parish president to enter into any applicable agreement or contract for this project.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion by Councilman Satterly, a second by Councilman Todd Lambert. Any,
Brian.
Discussion.
sure, any discussion? Well, go ahead,
Yeah,
Mr. Lambert.
this has been a plus for the parish, these blinking lights. I think it's a possibility could save some lives. They really work, so I want to thank the administration for getting them put in.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Find a lot of them people in teenagers' bedrooms.
Put a camera right next to them.
Well, but it costs $1,000. If anybody got one for sale out there, we'd certainly entertain that. We need some more in Santa Monica, sure.
So I have a motion and a second. No objections, I take it. Hearing none, that motion passes. This thing aggravates me. And I believe that we are on the
Motion to
last
adjourn,
item.
Madam Chairman.
Mr. Lambert, thank you for that motion. And thank you all for being here tonight.